Welcome back. Gym challenge. Excuse me. Gym challenge. Add some pizza. We are back. Round number 3 of Swiss. I'm Dennis Geisler. That's Foy Coco. And we have a 1-on-1 match here for round number 3. Eligh, Marraquin, and Griffin Peters. Griffin with Incineroar, Porygon 2, Amoonguss, Golden Go, Urshifu, and Landorus. Eligh with Cresselia, Ursaluna, Blood Moon, Iron Hands, Incineroar, Ogerpon, Wellspring, and Fluttermane. Some things to note already. This Ursaluna Blood Moon is Assault Vest, Hyper Voice, Blood Moon, Earth Power, and a Vacuum Wave. This is a Cresselia that we're seeing. Safety Goggles with Terra Fairy, Levitate, Lunar Blessing, Trick Room, Safeguard, and Helping Hand. On Griffin's side, it's a very similar team that Junshi is running. That is the same Porygon 2 set. Don't know about the effort values. Well, I don't know about the... I don't know how it was trained, but in any case, we do know that it's basically the same. Terra Poison, download Eviolite, Terra Blast, Ice Beam, recover Trick Room. And yeah, not a lot of surprises on Griffin's side. Well, given that we know about Junshi's team with that that scary Incineroar, Porygon 2, Amoonguss core that's so difficult to break through. But it's not ideal to set up Trick Room against this team because that Ursaluna Blood Moon is pretty big. Does not have the Throat Spray, so will not be too crazy in terms of its damage, but regardless, we're getting into game number 1. Both these players at 1-1 in round number 3 here. A win makes it pretty likely that you'll float through to Top Cut one way or another. A loss will make it a lot more difficult. We have 17 players here today, 8 will make Top Cut. 2 more rounds after this one. The Incineroar Landorus lead, and then the Cresselia Ursaluna on the other side. Right off the bat, not a whole lot that Griffin can do about Trick Room. Landorus is in a weird spot. It can't hit Cresselia with Earth Power. It does have that Levitate. That's the nice value of the Cresselia. Incineroar does have the option to Parting Shot something. Try to get a little bit of extra value out of this. There is also the option of Knockoff. Knockoff will help, as that Cresselia with the Safety Goggles will no longer be immune to Spore. Indeed, we'll see the Amoonguss switch in for the Landorus. Not going to get much done there. See the Cresselia go for a Helping Hand, not a Trick Room. And it's immediately going to be Knockoff onto the Cresselia. It'll lose a little under half of its HP. Nice bulk on that thing. And the Ursaluna Blood Moon with the Earth Power, knock out the Incineroar. One-hit knockout, ring the bell. Really nice damage there. And that makes it a little bit awkward for Griffin here. Might have been predicting the Trick Room coming out and then having the very fast Spore out of the Amoonguss in the Trick Room. Porygon 2 will get that special attack boost. But instead, this is a lot more awkward for Griffin, having to bring in the Porygon 2 now. Either one of these Pokemon will get lit up pretty badly by a Blood Moon, or even by a Hyper Voice here if it is another Helping Hand move. And trying to stop this Cresselia from potentially going for a Trick Room even this turn could be difficult. Both these Pokemon can be hit by Spore and can be affected by Rage Powder, so that is the advantage here for Griffin. Or at least the one advantage that Griffin holds right now. I don't see the moves. We'll get a Terrastal. It's going to be the Ursaluna. Terra Normal, just popping it and going for it. That Terra Normal Ursaluna does tons of damage with that Blood Moon, and even with the Hyper Voice, both very, very strong moves. Cresselia will Safeguard. Nice move there. Cloaks itself for a mystical Veil. Ice Beam, not super effective against that Ursaluna. The Blood Moon. This will do some real damage here. Going to pop against the Porygon 2. Not actually only about half of its HP. Crazy damage there. And the Spore blocked by that Safeguard. I was wondering about the Safeguard going into the battle, but that is the clear advantage of it. Really, really nice there from Eligh, getting that set up ahead of the Amoonguss. Eligh so far has had definitely the better end of a lot of these plays. Griffin isn't playing terribly, certainly predicting reasonably well in certain cases, but just getting run over quite a bit so far. If you're Griffin at this point, I think you want to stabilize things a little bit. You've shown your Porygon 2 does not take much damage against that Ursaluna. The Ursaluna is Assault Vest, it is bulky, it's not as high damage. It's still high damage, but not as high damage. Get the Ice Beam once again. Freezes, still not going to get a freeze. Hyper Voice comes out, no helping hand on this, so it should not knock out the Porygon 2, that's for sure. Some okay damage against both these Pokemon. Pollen Puff into the Porygon 2, going to get a lot of its HP back. And there is the Trick Room for Cresselia finally getting up. Under Safeguard, it should feel a lot better to get that Trick Room up. And now Cresselia can also go for the Lunar Blessing to heal up both of these Pokemon. This could be a battle of attrition here as the Lunar Blessing is available, the Recover's available, the Pollen Puff's available, and none of these Pokemon are taking that much damage against anything else. Although a Helping Hand boosted Blood Moon will do a lot of damage against that Porygon too. Not enough to knock out as it is right now, but still a lot of damage. Potentially if softened up properly. Get the Amoonguss going for a Pollen Puff first. No priority moves used this turn, we could say. Ursaluna going with a Hyper Voice. Another nice chunk of damage against that Amoonguss, nearly knocking it out. Terra Blast into the Cresselia, not going to knock it out. Does a decent chunk of damage with the Lunar Blessing. Going to heal both of these Pokemon. Nice little chunk for Cresselia. Very nice chunk for Ursaluna. Now another Hyper Voice from Ursaluna will be very nice here. This Cresselia doesn't have any attacking moves, remember. So it could be pretty awkward to work around this for Eligh. Although at the same time, just a lot of options here. For one to try to break the other. Helping Hand boosted Blood Moon. No, it's going to be a Vacuum Wave into the Amoonguss. No Protect, no nothing. The Amoonguss will get dropped. Cresselia going for another Lunar Blessing. Bit more healing. Bit more healing for the Ursaluna as well. Twisted Dimensions will return to normal because of the Porygon 2 getting the counter Trick Room up. Landorus is coming out now, so it's still going to be difficult to stop Cresselia from getting this Terrastal up right now. With it being immune to Earth Power. Cresselia will instead Helping Hand the Ursaluna. Could do some real damage against this Landorus. Earth Power aimed at the Cresselia, not going to hit. That's Levitating Cresselia. The Terra Blast will land, not do a huge chunk. And the Blood Moon into the Landorus. That should be a one-shot. Indeed it is. Ring the bell, one-hit knockout. Nice, nice damage there from the Ursaluna. It looks like this lead from Eligh is going to get all the work done that it needs to. Indeed, Griffin forfeits and Eligh Marraquin with a fantastic game number 1. Not having to go past the leads up for either of these. Just incredibly played, all things considered. There's the battles canceled. Yeah, all 4 Pokemon remaining didn't, and that's the great thing as well for Eligh is he didn't have to show anything other than the leads, just the Ursaluna and the Cresselia, and they were pretty dangerous. I mean, it's always dangerous to have a Pokemon like Ursaluna that only has attacking moves, and especially a Pokemon like Cresselia that has no attacking moves. But when they cover for each other that well and are able to preserve themselves that well, you start to get a lot out of it. Nice as well because the Cresselia is in charge of keeping the Ursaluna healthy, which means that the Cresselia has to be taken down first, which then means that Ursaluna, who's a little bit more self-sufficient than the Cresselia, will be able to stay standing regardless. We'll see if they decide to switch anything up. Eligh had obviously had the better end of that battle. I don't think there's any denying that. Could try to switch things up just to catch Griffin off guard. And Griffin, on the other end, might want to change some things because that battle did not go well. It's Golden Go, notably, even though it is a ghost type, it will get hit, I believe, by Vacuum Wave as that priority move from Ursaluna because of the Mind's Eye ability. Earth Power does more damage to it regardless. This Ursaluna, the normal and ground is nearly perfect coverage, especially when you combine in the Mind's Eye ability. Great stuff. Cresselia Ogerpon this time for Eligh, and Urshifu Incineroar, so a nice kind of read there from Eligh, figuring out that the Urshifu might be seen early on and going with the Ogerpon, which is a very nice answer to that Rapid Strike Urshifu. Only seen Rapid Strikes today, have not seen any single strikes. Not a ton of Urshifus in any case. Again, that Cresselia does have the safety goggles. The safety goggles plus the safeguard are a really nice way of getting around these Amoonguses, because you have to knock off the safety goggles and then go before the safeguard, which is nearly impossible to get all of that done together if Cresselia is thinking about it. Finally, we'll see the Cresselia go for the early Helping Hand. This is a -1 Ogerpon, but the Helping Hand boosts its damage. Do the Fake Out onto the Cresselia, not going to do anything because the Cresselia was already hit by that. U-turn onto Ogerpon from the Urshifu, switches it out. Now all up to the Ogerpon. What is the Ogerpon going to do here? Will it go for an Ivy Cudgel into the Incineroar? Golden Go is going to switch in now. A big Ivy Cudgel into the Incineroar could be huge here. It's going to be Horn Leech into Golden Go, and that's going to do basically nothing. Even with a Helping Hand boost, not much, not going to heal much, and that's a nice first turn for Griffin. At this point, not a whole lot threatens the Golden Go. You can go for a Nasty Plot if you want, and also use the Incineroar to try to create more pressure here, going for a knockoff against the Cresselia. Not sure, no? Amoongus in the back. I say to you, the audience, not to anyone else. That means that the knockoff won't mean much against the Cresselia. It'll do solid damage as far as damage against the Cresselia goes, but it won't be that meaningful. And the knockoff against the Ogerpon would be weakened significantly since you can't knock off the mask. Wearing the mask. There's the Terra on the Golden Go. Terra Dragon, it means it's resistant to every attacking move on the field right now, actually. As just the Ivy Cudgel and the Horn Leech right now. Mega Shield comes up from Ogerpon, so be a great turn to Nasty Plot for Griffin if that is the decision. It will indeed be the Nasty Plot. You now know the Terra, but Lunar Blessing is just going to heal the Ogerpon a bit, but that's not going to be that meaningful compared to a basically free Nasty Plot on this big Golden Go. Here's the knockoff. Okay damage against the Cresselia. Gets the safety goggles out of there. And now we'll see what the decision is here from the Golden Go. The Metal Coat, Make It Rain is the best damage against everything except for that Ogerpon, which really resists it. It'll make it difficult for this Golden Go to do a whole lot right now. You really want to be going for that Make It Rain. Ogerpon is still at -1 attack, so it will be pretty reduced in what it's able to do even in return. Incineroar is going to swap out. It'll be Urshifu coming back in. We haven't seen the 4th Pokemon for Griffin yet. Well, the Eligh hasn't at least. We have. Ivy Cudgel into the Urshifu. Not going to take much damage at all. That's Choice Scarf Urshifu. Make it rain, and that will certainly finish off the Cresselia. Does some good damage to Ogerpon. Now +1 only on the Golden Go. And this is a pretty good spot for Griffin to be in. You've got the Trick Room out of there. Nothing else on Eli's team has Trick Room. Terra hasn't been used yet, so it can be used here for this Ursaluna. It is Assault Vest, does have some special bulk, but it will be difficult to really get a whole lot of use out of this Ursaluna. It's really going to have to start launching out Hyper Voices and see what happens, I think. So regardless, it's going to be tough here for Eligh here in game number 2. Do the Terra. I believe that's going to be Terra Normal Ursaluna. I don't think it would make sense for it to be anything else. Gets rid of that ground type to get rid of the weakness to water that Urshifu Rapid Strike is showing right now. Ogerpon uses Follow Me as well. Tries to redirect that Surging Strikes if that's the choice. It's going to be U-turn into the Ogerpon again, and Ogerpon's going to get knocked out there. And that'll mean that the Urshifu switches out. Oh, we don't know what's going to switch in, and it'll be either the Incineroar or the last Pokemon. Incineroar coming in could allow Parting Shot cycling. Will at least drop Ursaluna's special attack, regardless of anything else. Indeed, it's the Incineroar. Golden Go with the Make It Rain at +1 now. Very good damage to the Ursaluna. Much better than I was anticipating. Real good damage there. The Blood Moon. That should be under the Golden Go, and that should be a knockout. Indeed it will. But the damage may already have been done, as that Ursaluna is going to struggle to get through the next turn. Especially with the Assault Vest. Doesn't even have a Protect to lean on here. Do the switch in here from Griffin. Still have not shown the final Pokemon for either of these players. It's Iron Hands for Eligh, and it's Landorus for Griffin. This Iron Hands is Clear Amulet. It's a little bit more offensive. It's kind of interesting, actually. It's Clear Amulet, Terra Fire with Wild Charge, Drain Punch, Fake Out, and Fire Punch. So no Heavy Slam, instead going for that Fire Punch with the Terra Fire. A little bit less damage than Terra Blast straight up would do, but does have a chance of burning, as well as, like, more obviously just... There's the Fake Out on the Ursaluna. As well as more obviously being able to be used outside of being terastallized. Landorus Earth Power is going to do tons of damage to this Iron Hands, though. Ursaluna flinches, and is probably going to be it for this battle regardless. We'll see both these Pokemon most likely get knocked out this turn. Landorus finishes off the Iron Hands with the Earth Power, and if a knockoff or a Flare Blitz heads into the Ursaluna, it's going to be the knockoff. This should do it. Indeed it does. Griffin Peters with game number 2, pulling us to a game number 3. Nice adaptation there by Griffin, but also maybe not the best adaptation by Eligh, not leading with that Ursaluna Cresselia. It felt like Ogerpon was a little bit low on damage, all things considered, although putting Ursaluna in front of Urshifu, still not a great idea turn 1, as it can go for the close combat. I'm not sure what that damage looks like. Plus the Incineroar there, which could have Parting Shotted out, could have gone for the Fake Out. Regardless, lots of decisions to make for both these players. I had to take a drink of water. Stay hydrated, y'all. 1-1 here. Both these players at 1-1 as well here in round 3. 2 more rounds of Swiss after this. Many of the players in this round already done with this round. Griffin taking his time thinking about the decision here. Now going to lock in finally. And we are now going to get underway. Game number 3, the climactic matchup here of this round. Like the Psyduck picture. It's going to be Fluttermane Iron Hands for Eligh. No Cresselia lead this time. It's going to be Urshifu Landorus, not the Incineroar this time on Griffin's side. And now this is going to change up quite a bit. This is Choice Scarf Urshifu. So it is probably going to go first, as Fluttermane is Sash, which means that it won't really do anything against Surging Strikes. But Iron Hands will almost certainly be able to take down the Urshifu. Iron Hands will almost certainly be able to take down the Urshifu if Fluttermane gets knocked out, but at the same time that will almost certainly mean that Iron Hands is knocked out as well. Urshifu's just going to switch out. But it could have been a very offensive first turn. There's also Fake Out available. There is the Incineroar, and there is the back of Fluttermane's head. Always happy to see it. Clear Amulet, going to stop the attack drop for Iron Hands. Just going for a Fake Out onto the Landorus, not going to get anything done there. The Fluttermane goes for Moonblast into the Incineroar, does pretty okay damage, all things considered. Now the Fake Out pressure is on the side of Griffin. Fluttermane doesn't need to protect, has protect, but doesn't need it. Iron Hands, be curious to see whether a Fake Out plus an Earth Power would take out the Iron Hands, but that would leave Fluttermane unchecked for yet another turn. Could do some real damage there. Fluttermane uses the Moonblast into the Landorus. Solid damage there. Drops the special attack. That's going to be pretty significant. The Earth Power not going to even do half to the Fluttermane there. Knockoff as well. Going to pick up the knockout. So that is good for Griffin. Be able to pick up that knockout onto the Fluttermane. Sash doesn't matter. The Drain Punch going to knock out the Incineroar though, and this Iron Hands is definitely a bit of a threat, especially if Landorus gets knocked out next turn. Not sure what's in the back, but unless it's Ogerpon, it won't be faster than Landorus. It's gonna be Ursaluna. Again, this Ursaluna, well, we will see the Golden Go now. Ursaluna not immediately going to be forced. Well, even then, Iron Hands is not going to take as much damage because that Landorus had a special attack drop from the Moonblast. So this Iron Hands might actually be able to take a hit. It won't do much to Golden Go. Unfortunately for Iron Hands, does not also get Mind's Eye. One of the most fascinating things about, I think, about the last couple regulations is how good Iron Hands has been without really having an ability. Doesn't really get to use Quark Drive all that often, including in this battle. No way for anyone to set it up. Golden Go going to protect. That could be a bit dangerous unless it's a double protect from Griffin. Give me an Earth Power into the Iron Hands. Does a little over half of its HP. Not a whole lot. The Blood Moon going to absolutely take down that Landorus. No doubt about that one. That puts Eligh in a pretty good spot, all things considered. The Fire Punch was aimed at the Golden Go there. Now it is just the Urshifu and the Golden Go remaining for Eligh to get through the last 3 Pokemon. There is one more in the back for Eligh that we have not seen yet. Ursaluna. The decent spot for Ursaluna to Terrastallize and Hyper Voice. We will see the Terra. Not a whole lot of great uses for Terra apart from this right now. Oh, this is the Terra Dragon Golden Go right now. So it will mean it's resistant to Fire Punch now instead of weak to it. Close combat, no Terra. Ursaluna gets one hit knocked out on the critical hit. Brutal critical hit there for Eligh in game number 3, and that's going to see the bear getting out of there. Golden Go with the Shadow Ball into the Iron Hands. Will this be enough to knock it out? Be close. No, it is not going to get there. The Wild Charge will absolutely be enough to knock out the Urshifu. That should leave us in a one-on-one scenario between Golden Go and something. Ooh, Iron Hands will actually take the hit. Be able to get one more shot off, potentially. Might even try to Drain Punch up. It's going to be Cresselia as the final Pokemon here. As we know, Cresselia does not have an attacking move. If it does not find a way to keep Iron Hands standing here, Cresselia is not going to win a one-on-one against Golden Go, I'll say that much. Golden Go, faster, gets to make it rain off, and that will be the battle. Cresselia literally cannot do anything. Golden Go has all the time in the world to sit and contemplate its existence. That'll be Griffin Peters winning round number 3 here over Eligh Marraquin. A great battle between the two. Yeah, great battle, all things considered, between the two of them. With how dominant Eligh was in game number 1, it was really impressive the way that Griffin was able to really turn that around in games 2 and 3 and not really be weak to that Trick Room setup. And then in the final game, seeing that Cresselia at the end was really rough. If it was an Ogerpon, it probably wouldn't have been a win, but it would have been a little bit better. As a reminder, we are supporting Child's Play. It's on that side of the screen. They donate games and technology to pediatric hospitals. Use that QR code over there to donate. They are great. They do great work. With that, we are going to take a quick break. On the other side, round number 4, getting towards the end of Swiss. Don't go anywhere.